This is Average Sports.
By your average guys.
Eric.
And Ty. That would be so bad.
Yeah. This is Average Sports.
Your average sports.
Average Sports.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of
You're listening to Average Sports with your average guys.
Average Sports, average guys, Eric and Ty.
Thank you so much for stopping into another episode of Average Sports with your average guys.
Woo.
I'm bringing this one to you guys, not solo, but Ty's here.
Yeah.
Waiting in the wings for me to bring him on in. But this is an episode about things that I love more than anything else.
More than anything else.
Football.
You do have a
Football's
toddler
back,
at
baby.
home, Eric. I just
Football
want
is back.
Are you saying you
in
love
sports.
football more than your family?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
But I love it more than any other sport. Especially
all right.
boring baseball.
Baseball's pretty cool, man.
Not really.
And then,
I like baseball. I'm just throwing shots at Ty over here.
That's what you do.
So I know, man. That's how we do this stuff. So welcome to another episode, guys. Thank you so much. We're going to be completely talking about week one of the NFL. Now, we're not going to do this every single week when we have an episode, but since football is back, we're excited. We're going to bring you a little bit of a recap on week one, and we're getting back on a regular schedule too.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump right in. So every week we have our butthole in sports. And this week it was a little tough. Like, we're really trying to keep it super NFL centric. And I came up with one, not because he did something, kind of Tom Brady-ish, but he made a terrible, terrible mistake. Rookie running back, Mr. DeAndre Swift of the Detroit Lions, dropped a wide open game-winning touchdown that would have sealed it. The victory for the Lions over the Bears. Ty, did you get a chance
that
to
is
check
like
that out?
the epitome of rookie mistake, right? He is the embodiment. You just
Yes.
when it matters most, you trained for this moment. You're here at the highest level, and you fail. Oh, he's never going to live that one down. It's tragic. So game goes to Chicago in that one, right?
Yeah, Chicago went in. They were down huge. Through three quarters, you looked at that and you're like, Chicago may legitimately be one of the worst teams in the NFL, led by Mr. Mitchell Trubisky, who is complete and utter garbage. No one will ever convince me otherwise. But they were able to pull it out. He had a great fourth quarter, and we're able to come back. So, but before we do that, we got a couple of very quick recaps on the NBA. Miami Heat had one of the best games, playoff games I've ever seen as far as entertainment-wise go. Last night, they took game one from the Celtics with the block heard around the world, in the final seconds of overtime to seal that win. If you haven't seen it, take a minute. Just jump on ESPN or NBA.com, watch it. It is fantastic ending to that basketball game. And then the Nuggets again, down 3-1 again, come back and win it and close the Clippers out. The Clippers have still never been to a conference final in their history, which is crazy. But that's where we're at. The Nuggets are
good to see that some things are remaining constant in 2020.
Some things are remaining constant with the Clippers being horrific, and we're not getting that LA versus LA battle like you and I had both predicted and many other people did. So
that's a shame.
Okay, well, that's what we got. Let's kind of jump into a little bit of a recap on the NFL for week one. One of the things I really want to talk about that's really exciting for me is watching the rookies. We're big fantasy football players here at Average Sports, but watching the rookies come in and just have either great games or ones that you were really excited about that just bombed out. We're talking about a lot of really good ones here, but we're going to start with that Thursday night game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the Kansas City Chiefs looks super electric. Ty, did you?
Oh, yeah. That was one of the fewer games I did get to watch, mainly beginning to end even. And because we also had our little side bet, by the way.
Yes, we did.
Who would beat the spread. I think I took that one handily because the Chiefs are for real.
You definitely did.
They look rested and ready. Yeah.
Yeah, the Texans look super rusty. Outside of David Johnson, Deshaun Watson was like, "Where's DeAndre Hopkins?" Oh, we traded him to Atlanta.
He's not there.
Or Arizona, and I don't know who to throw this to.
Right.
Will Fuller had a big stat game, but he looked pretty bad, in my opinion. So it's Texans are going to have a tough year, I think, unless they can kind of figure this out. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire looks electric.
Right. So the big conversation, I think the biggest conversation or reaction coming out of NFL Week 1 is who is going to even take the challenge that is the Chiefs. What does any team do? Because how can you say any team is even better than them right now? They are so well-rounded on all fronts offense, and the defense, though, is looking pretty stout. I think they're going to be able to stand up to any team. They're going to have to perform. They're going to have to beat themselves, in other words. I don't think any team, pound for pound, is necessarily better than the Chiefs right now.
I think there's one team at least in consideration, and that is Baltimore. Baltimore Ravens do have a better defense. Offensively, no, they're not the same caliber as the Kansas City Chiefs, but they're not that far behind. Baltimore Ravens are going to be one of the top offenses. And when you have an electric player, just like, Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, when you have a Lamar Jackson leading your team, it is, you're definitely ahead of the pack there. So I would say that Baltimore would be the one team on the AFC side. I think they can definitely give them a run for their money, for sure.
Yeah, but their rookie running back out there in KC, looking ready.
Yeah, he looks real good. I'm excited. I was really excited to watch him play, and he came out and definitely didn't disappoint. Jonathan Taylor in Indianapolis, he's going to get the opportunity right away. Some people didn't think he would, but Marlon Mack unfortunately goes down with a season-ending injury right off the bat. Jonathan Taylor is going to be incredible as well too. He wasn't really. He was in the game plan obviously after Mack went down, but I really look forward to seeing what he can do now in week 2 with the game plan specifically set for him. I think we're going to see a big jump for Jonathan Taylor and someone that's super electric. Normally don't get to talk about rookie wide receivers either, especially right away unless you get some of those very special few. But Jerry Jeudy of the Denver Broncos has just some of the best footwork I've ever seen on any rookie wide receiver, any wide receiver for that matter. And CeeDee Lamb for the Dallas Cowboys looks like he is going to be a legit, big time player for the Cowboys as well too. So I like those two rookie wide receivers. Do you see anything from that Denver game? Maybe Jerry Jeudy's footwork. They were definitely highlighting that.
I have not seen the highlight reel of
the late game,
the Bronco game. It was on very late. I checked scores, and that's about as far as I went with it. I saw the name come through on the stats, and just one, I'm a fan of the name, Jerry Jeudy. It's fun to say. And he looked like he had a great performance to start his young career, and Denver has just been one of those franchises to put together and find strong talent on their wide receiver core. They've had a number of names come through there prior to Peyton Manning's arrival several years ago, and that's just they find some killer weapons out there for the wide receivers.
Yeah, and they definitely have a strong, I think, receiving core with like a Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and then Noah Fant. Absolutely looks just ridiculous. He's not only just a tight end, but I mean the dude can run with wide receivers. So they are definitely an upstart offense. I think that should be exciting and fun to watch. So
I think they need. I mean, Broncos are missing an element, and I think that's still QB. They're not getting enough points on the board when it matters. They had a tough matchup though. They were playing the Titans, right? They were playing the Titans. I thought Drew Lock for the most part looked pretty darn good. I think that he's going to be just fine. I think he's definitely improving the way he should. I'm more concerned with the inefficiency at running back that I think they're going to be getting. Melvin Gordon is not as good as people think that he is. And now Phillip Lindsay's at least out for a little bit, if not a little bit longer. So he went down, and then, Royce Freeman, really great talent, but, is he going to be able to finally step up in his third year? As well too. So I'm a little bit more concerned. A lot of injuries coming out of week 1. Yeah, definitely some big injuries coming out of week 1. I mean, we'll definitely highlight some of them, like Michael Thomas. I mean, that's a game I want to move over to. That was the talk of the week. Going into week 1 was the Saints and the Bucs. Tom Brady's new team, and the team that everyone is predicting to win the Super Bowl comes out, and he did not look good. And from what I saw, I mean, he threw 2 interceptions, threw a pick 6 on one of them, and just, wasn't really
up to par. Now I get it. It's week one with a new team and a new system. So, I mean, he's going to get a little bit of slack there. And obviously he's, arguably the best quarterback of all time. But
what's your take
that was
on,
a very disappointing start.
I think we all know, though, the style of play that Brady has always demonstrated is featuring a different person week to week based on, I mean, they're out there to win. It's a team effort. You're not going to get the consistent high scoring unless you're Gronkowski, which I don't know. I didn't even see how he did in that game. But that aside,
I'm going to correct you. Gronkowski is garbage.
Okay.
He's the second tight end on his own team, so he's not even.
Point being, when he was
Howard,
in New England, I'm not even sure what he's doing down south.
He's a Hall of Fame tight end, but not in Tampa Bay.
My point is that the style of play that he had in New England, I don't know, are we going to see that translate? And I'm only asking, and rather than a criticism. And what my reaction is hearing the coach say that Mike Evans, he felt bad about not getting him the ball more. I think he had a really terrible day. I mean, something like 8 yards or I don't know, however
it was
many
one
came
catch on 4 attempts for 6 yards and a touchdown. So, I mean, he got the score.
But right.
He came in with a hamstring injury. And he was definitely hampered all week. He was a game time decision. I have him in one of my fantasy leagues. I sat him. I wasn't playing that game, and I'm glad I did. But he needs to be healthy first. He missed the end of last season with a hamstring injury. Now he's got another one popping up. They need to get Mike Evans healthy for sure, but they still have someone like Chris Godwin there. They have O.J. Howard, who's a big, big tight end. He already has the chemistry with Gronkowski, although Gronkowski is not going to be the same player that people remember. And they have plenty of running backs in the backfield that they can, mix it up or go with the hot hand or whatever the case is. They definitely should have performed a lot better. Now, the Saints are a very good team, but that being said, I think a lot of people really expected a whole lot more out of the Bucs.
Right. So when you hear someone saying, we got to get our first wide receiver the ball a lot more, does that put pressure on someone like Brady who's like, wait a minute, I've done this now for how many years? I don't need you telling me who I got to throw to right now. I'm going to make that my own decision. I mean, it could be taking it to an ultra sensitive, doesn't need to go there kind of thing. But I mean, do you think even just a smaller comment like that, does that already mean, well, he's got to change a little bit of the way he plays?
Yeah, absolutely he does. He knew what he was getting into with Bruce Arians, who likes to push the ball down the field, and that's Mike Evans. That's not to say that Chris Godwin's not going to get his, because Tom Brady loves to throw it underneath, just like a Julian Edelman. And, like you said, when there was Gronkowski and, others that were underneath and in the slot. I mean, so he loves the underneath routes, but Bruce Arians pushes the ball down the field. That's what he expects. That's what he's always done. Tom Brady's not going to be any different, even at 41. He's going to be expected to get the ball to Mike Evans. And quite frankly, I know that Mike Evans was injured, but so let's take Mike Evans healthy. If Mike Evans is only getting 4 attempts a game, that is not utilizing your best talent the way that you should. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, he was almost out there as a decoy, except for hauling.
I mean, he had the hamstring injury, so I wouldn't doubt it. But as soon as Mike Evans actually legit gets healthy, if he's not utilized, that's going to be a big problem.
Okay. Let's talk about real quick in about the next 60 seconds, the Browns and Jets. Are those teams Browns, that are just Jets, what's happening? I mean, I really came in with high hopes that the Browns are going to kind of make an impact and have almost a coming out of we're the new Browns. We do have enough talent. We don't have the same pressure that we have year over year. There wasn't a marquee guy they had to bring in. It's a team that kind of well knows each other, but neither franchise was showing that they are ready to be a winning team.
No, I mean, and the Jets definitely had a super tough matchup. The Bills are going to be a nightmare for teams all season long. So the Jets have an Adam Gase problem. That's their problem. So they're going to be terrible. The Browns are they're out of sync. There's a lot of talent, but they are just not meshing up. And for whatever reason, Odell Beckham and Baker Mayfield just cannot get on the same page.
Disappointing.
Perfect. And before we kind of move on, we just got a couple other things. I mean, there's just so much with week one.
Sure.
I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but Josh